What's good, people? This is T Hoodie in Japan. Back at you to give you another video. As you can see, as you can maybe tell, I got better lighting now. I bought an extra light, so maybe you guys will see my gorgeous face, and I could attract more viewers and get more subscribers. Or maybe, you'll be more scared of me and decide to unsubscribe, or maybe even get me banned. I don't know what's going to happen. It's a flip of a coin. We'll see what happens. Just to let you know, unfortunately for me, this is going to be my second take. Because for some reason, I decided to, talk and babble my life away with the microphone all the way over here. So the sound wasn't going to be as good at all. So, I just decided, what, let me just stop this and start all over again. Yep. For you guys. I decided to retake the whole thing, and I was kind of like 15 minutes in. But, things happen. And honestly, I need to practice anyway. So, what are we talking about today? Well, initially, I was gonna not go back. Initially, because last video we was talking about currency and the basics of currency and the coins and bills and credit cards, and I was gonna talk about other forms of payments that when you move to Japan, you won't really know about. You kind of understand it better. You get into it better as a veteran, but we're not going to talk about that. We're not going to talk about that today. We're basically going to go back to food. What I want to basically talk about is convenience stores, or Japanese call it konbini. Now, what do I mean by convenience stores? I mean, if you've heard of them in Japan, anything in Japan, you talk about the 7-Elevens. You would talk about the Lawson. You would talk about the Family Mart, the Mini Stop, the Newsday, and then there's so many others that that I don't even remember the names of it. So those are the convenience stores. What is their purpose here in Japan? Well, I can't really say what y'all would call these kind of convenience stores in most other states, but back in New York City, these konbinis would be comparable to the bodegas. I call them delis. I think some people call them bodegas. I call them deli, but let's just say bodega. I think most people, even out of state, may refer to them as a bodega. So that's what they are, and they're basically stores that's walking distance from your house. Very convenient, as the title called. They're convenience stores. And you could buy certain basic necessities, whether it be some foods or snacks or some drinks, whether you want to get some tissue or toilet paper towel. Maybe for you smokers, you want to get some cigarettes. And then maybe you get some beers, basic stuff like that. Other things that you want to grab, bigger things you would get from a supermarket, of course. But the convenience store is usually more closer to your home. And that's what the bodega is, and that's what the 7-Elevens, Lawson, Mini Stop, and so on are in Japan. So, now, where do I go from here? What are the differences? Well, let's talk about the bodega. What do you get in the bodega? Like I said before, you go into the bodega. You could go there. You could go get some snacks. If you want to get some tissue paper or toilet paper, you could go there and get a roll or two. You get some bread. If you want them to make you a sandwich or whatever they make, they could do that too. You want to get yourself some cigarettes, you get that too. And that's basically, as we said, basic necessities, some fruits and so on and so forth. A lot of basic stuff. And I don't know how much to say about bodegas because it's so normal for me. But let's talk about the convenience stores in Japan. In Japan, it's quite similar. You go in there. If you want to get some snacks, you could get that too. If you want to get some pre-made food, they have that too. If you want to get fruits, some drinks, some beer, you could also get other like some appliances such as like chargers and stuff. Yeah, and you get a lighter and so on and so forth. So they're quite similar in that aspect. What are the differences? One thing is that in the States, anything more than beer, like hard liquor and so on and so forth, wine, you have to go to a liquor store. Liquor stores are specifically made to get that kind of alcohol. But in Japan, there's not really liquor stores. They have liquor stores where they might sell like some special sake, but most people, if they going to want to buy some liquor, from what it seems to me, they could go to the convenience store or they could go to the supermarket, because the supermarket would most of the time have a lot more types of alcohol, including beer, including wine, and so on and so forth. Yeah, and so in the States, last I checked, you can't really get any liquor or alcohol from the supermarket like that. You could get beer, but not no hard liquor or wine and stuff like that. Some other differences. Japan convenience stores has a lot more pre-made food. You'll see a lot of bentos. That's a big thing in Japan. You have a lot of bentos, and when some people, for some reason, mistranslate bento into lunchbox, it's not really a lunchbox. Basically, consider bento like already prepared food, and all you really need to do is heat it up. Or sometimes you don't need to heat it up because it's you're supposed to eat it cold, and that's that. And I'm not gonna speak for most states, but the bodegas in New York City don't really have that. If they even have it at all. So yeah. So in that aspect, it is more convenient for the Japanese convenience stores, which is pretty cool. I mean, it's pretty good. Would I recommend that stuff being your daily intake? No, and I'll kind of get to that later. Also about the Japanese convenience stores is that I kind of feel like they definitely have a lot more other variety of things that you could buy in Japanese convenience stores. For example, if you need to get a charger, they have all types of chargers. They have you could buy the portable chargers, not just the cable. You could buy a whole portable charger if you want to. I wouldn't recommend it because usually in those convenience stores they're a lot more expensive. But if you it's an emergency and you need something, convenience stores usually have it. So that's a good thing. Let's say for whatever reason you don't have a debit or credit card or any type of other card to buy something off Amazon, or let's say you want to buy a game digitally on the PlayStation or the Nintendo, or you want to buy something from Google, or so on and so forth. Well, fortunately, the convenience stores in Japan do sell Amazon cards, Google cards, and so on, other types of prepaid cards, and so on and so forth, which is pretty convenient, because a lot of times, like I said, probably said in my previous video, a lot of times maybe you can't use your card for regional reasons, or whatever the case may be. So, like, for example, you know what? Let's scratch that. Let's scratch that example part. Anyway, what are some? I basically spoke a lot of good things about the Japanese convenience stores. However, at the end of the day, I still do prefer my New York City bodega over the Japanese convenience stores. Let me tell you why. And it basically comes down to food. Yes, it's true that, Japanese bodegas have bentos. On top of that, they also have like the onigiri, which is the rice balls that you can eat, and so on and so forth. So they have a lot of food that you can eat. However, when it comes to like something fulfilling, it's not there. It's not there at all. And it's hard to explain because, like, for example, let's start with sandwiches. Sandwiches in bodegas and probably most convenience stores in America, you usually have the person make it for you. You usually get in a roll or a hero. You tell them what type of meat you want. You tell them whether you want lettuce, tomatoes. You tell them whether you want mustard, honey mustard, spicy mustard, whether you want ketchup, whatever type of sauce, salt, pepper, vinegar, so on and so forth. And they'll make it for you, and they'll put a lot of meat in it, and some lettuce. And by the time you get there, when you look at the sandwich, it looks fulfilling. It looks like it's definitely gonna fill you up, and that's not the case in Japan at all. First of all, sandwiches are not like made for you in these convenience stores. They're basically pre-made, and they're basically in white loaves of bread, like the slices you get from loaves of bread. They're wrapped in that, and the meat is like maybe 1 or 2 slabs, and then some lettuce, and then tomatoes, and then maybe whatever sauce they decide to use. You don't get to choose what kind of sandwich you want. You either have to take what they have available. If they have a pastrami sandwich, then you can have that, and then whatever's in that sandwich. You don't get to customize that sandwich. If it's a ham sandwich with some mustard and lettuce, tomatoes, that's how you have to have it. If it's a chicken cutlet sandwich with ketchup, that's gonna be how you have to have it. There's no customizing your sandwiches in Japan. You take it how it's already made for you. And on top of that, like I already said, it's not plentiful. It's gonna be two slices of bread, of normal bread, put it together, 1 or 2 pieces of meat, lettuce, tomatoes. That's it. It's gonna be like this. Your sandwiches is gonna be like this. Always. They don't have no rolls in Japan. They don't have no heroes in Japan. If they do have them, it's hard to find. The only time I was ever able to find any No, I haven't even found any rolls, honestly. Rolls or heroes. I found buns one time, but I can't even find them anymore in Costco. Like, at one time, they had buns in Costco. I don't even see them anymore. Um, Maybe they have them back, but yeah. But yeah, like, we're at a point. Me and my wife is at a point. It's like, yeah, we might have to like figure out how to make rolls and buns because they're not in supermarkets or convenience stores or anything like that. So forget about making a hot dog or a hamburger and stuff like that, unless you're gonna find somewhere special that makes the buns, or you're gonna make them yourself. But anyway, off that tangent, like I said, with sandwiches, you could just forget about it. And that being said, if you want some kind of BLT, you're not gonna don't even think about it. If you want a Philly cheesesteak, forget about it. If you want a bacon, egg, and cheese, forget about it. Like I said, any type of sandwich, the honey glazed turkey, a salami sandwich, whatever special type of ham or chicken or whatever sandwich you want, you could forget about it. They're most likely not going to have it. If they do have it, it's going to be displayed there. You take it as it is, or you don't take it at all. It is what it is. That's what it is like in the Japanese convenience stores. Now, do they have stuff? Yeah, they have. Like I said, most of it is pre-made, and they have stuff behind the counter that you could heat up. Like, they have maybe some boneless chicken, or maybe they'll have a kebab or some fries, or maybe some crispy chicken or tenders or something like that. So they do have stuff, but anything customizable, you could just forget about it. There's nothing customizable in Japan. As a matter of fact, I heard a lot of times, like, when you go to a restaurant and maybe you want this thing without whatever spice that's in it, maybe because you're allergic, they maybe won't do it for you. You have to take it as it is, even in normal restaurants. Now, has that been changing recently? Maybe. I don't know how much, but it definitely was a thing in the past where customizing things, changing the food in any way is not a thing in Japan. Or rather, it was not a thing in Japan and may be slowly changing. So that's how it is. And because of that, I do prefer bodegas a lot more than Japanese convenience stores when it comes to food. Also, what's a little convenient is that usually when you buy, like, let's say you want to buy some tissue, toilet paper, and stuff, usually you could just buy one single roll and just buy that. In Japan, you have to kind of buy it in whatever bundle it is. Usually it's like maybe 4 or 6 or 8, and you have to just buy it off. But that's not too much of a big deal. It's the same thing with the toilet paper and tissue and everything else. Not too much of a big deal. Anything else that's the difference? Did I say it already? Alcohol. I think I said that alcohol. You're not gonna go. No. That's actually a good thing about the Japanese convenience stores. So yeah, I'm trying to think. Give me a second. I'm trying to figure out if there's any difference. Other little small things, like usually when you in the States, especially when you go to a convenience store, let's say something costs like $1.99. Usually you just give the person $2, and then it's already kind of understood that, yeah, I don't need the penny. You just keep the penny, and I'll just be on my way with the food. But in convenience stores and most other stores, that's not a thing, and the reason being is that food, even food and snacks at the convenience store is taxed. So it's never going to be like 99 cents or $1.99 or $2.99 and something like that. Usually when you buy, it's going to be let's say 99 99 yen plus tax, so it's going to be 134 yen or something like that. So it's not that, kind of attitude where, and maybe it's just a big city thing, especially in New York City, where you just give them that and he's like, yeah, keep the little penny change, and you just walk away. No, you're gonna have to wait until they give you change and so on and so forth. But it is what it is, because at most convenience stores, actually, not really. I would say 7-Eleven. At least it was 7-Eleven. They have a machine, and then you put the money in the machine, and then it quickly just spits out the change. For some reason, in like other convenience stores like Lawson and Family Mart, the customers, the person at the counter has to take the money and basically get the change for you, and so on and so forth. But that's kind of one reason I like 7-Eleven better. Among other reasons, I think 7-Eleven does have some certain items that's better than other convenience stores. That's one thing I also want to talk about with the Japanese convenience stores. Japanese convenience stores tend to have different things. For example, and I'm not just talking about the food behind the counter, because of course different companies are going to have different types of food around the counter, but they also have different type of snacks. There's some snacks that you might see in one convenience store, but it definitely won't be in the other. There's some drinks that you might see in convenience store that you won't see in the other. A lot of times, like with some food, the convenience store might have their own snack or food or whatever by their own branding. Like 7-Eleven has their own cup ramen and stuff like that, which some of it is pretty good in my opinion. They have their own like sweets. Like I definitely like when it's out, because everything seems to be a limited time. They usually have the sugary bowl donuts, and I usually look forward to that. So like there's definitely like a difference between all the bodegas. Not all the bodegas. There's definitely a difference between all the convenience stores in Japan, and some stand out more than others. But at the end of the day, I guess it really depends on that person, what that person prefers. Like this, like stuff from the other convenience stores I like the fry, like these chips that's like kind of like French fries. Crispy French fries. I don't really know what to call them, but I enjoy that. And that's at another bodega. I keep saying bodega. That's at another convenience store, which I believe is Family Mart, if I'm not mistaken. For some reason, I confuse Family Mart and Lawson, because they have some similar colors. But anyway, so yeah. Now, a lot of people, there's two more points I want to get across. The first thing I wanted to get across is a lot of people say that what I keep hearing is that, and these is always from these promoters of Japan, that the food is healthy in those convenience stores. And I would take that as gospel. I don't think you should believe that. Yes, you could eat that stuff now and then, but that's not something you should eat daily. A lot of that stuff is unhealthy, and there are chemicals in a lot of that food that even the U.S. banned. Now, as greedy as the U.S. is, if they, for whatever reason, they decide, yeah, we probably should ban this or severely restrict this because, it might cause cancer. And yes, there are chemicals in there that could cause cancer, among other things. And so if U.S. is making, maybe it's not a good idea to have this chemical, or maybe we should severely restrict it, then that tells you a lot. Because like I said, America, as greedy as they are, not really caring about people and more caring about profit, that's probably tell you it's kind of dangerous. And then, Japan use those chemicals. They don't ban it. And like I said, and these chemicals, it's like a lot of things. Like, if you take it in small amounts and you eat it now and then, it's not going to really it's not going to really cause any harm. But when you eat it too much, that's when it becomes a problem. And so, my take on that is, enjoy it. If you want a bento, if you want, some of that, chicken behind the counter, it's okay to eat it now and then, but that's not something you should eat daily or even frequently. Best thing always to do is, eat, make some, go to the supermarket and cook your own food. Cook some healthy food, delicious food. I know it's easier said than done. The only reason why I could say that now and do it religiously is because I have a wife. And, even before then, when I was back in the States, I used to eat a lot of fast food and stuff like that. But, I'm just giving you a warning. I know maybe I should be the last person who should give you this advice, but, I'm just giving you my fair warning. Definitely don't eat that stuff on the regular. Some of those chemicals is unhealthy, and yes, I forgot the name of the chemicals. One of that particular chemical, but yes, one of those chemicals that they put in the food in the convenience stores in Japan, they could build cancer. So definitely be careful with that. So now that we talked about that, I kind of want to segue into, and this is kind of old news, that American 7-Eleven is trying to be more like more Japanese, like the Japanese way of 7-Eleven. And I think I heard that like a few months ago, maybe not even more than a few months ago. And my take is I don't know how to feel about that. I'm just not quite sure if it will work, to be perfectly honest. Like I said, 7-Eleven, like what does that mean? That's the first thing I want to know. That what does that mean? Does it mean that you're gonna sell more Japanese food in the U.S. 7-Eleven? I mean, I guess you could do that, and for a while, you could bring some onigiris and some bento there, but then the question becomes, it's like, it'll be cool for a while because it's new and you get to, get a little bit of a feeling what Japanese people eat and so on and so forth. But how long is that going to last? Like, Americans, at the end of the day, are Americans. Are they going to be happy? Are they going to be as happy eating American food? Are they going to buy the bentos? Or are they going to just go back to buying the hot dogs and the slushies and all the other American stuff that Americans are used to eating? So I'm just questioning, like, is that going to be more profitable? So is that what they mean? They're going to bring more Japanese type food into the American 7-Eleven? Or what? Or are they trying to say that they're going to make 7-Eleven more of a convenience store? Because honestly, back in America, 7-Eleven is not much of a convenience store, especially in New York City. They're not popping like that in New York City. Yeah, it's growing, but they're not doing as, I don't think they're doing as well as the bodegas. In my opinion, it's night and day. It's just night and day. Now, maybe I don't know. Maybe because, and on top of that, even out of New York City, like a lot of times, these bodegas, I mean not the bodegas, these 7-Elevens, they're at like gas station stops and so on and so forth. They serve two different, totally different purposes between Japan and U.S. So I just don't understand. Now, maybe 7-Eleven is trying to do a power play because, you know, with a lot of the nonsense going on in New York City, a lot of these bodegas are shutting down. You know, they can't make money. People are stealing and, you know, shoplifting, so on and so forth. So maybe it's some kind of power play. And 10, 20 years from now, 7-Eleven is going to be the new bodega, which I pray that's the case. I pray that's not the case. But right now, I honestly just don't see it. And I don't know. If anyone has like their own opinion, please write it on the comments, because I just don't understand it. Alright, but yeah, that's going to be it for today. You know, about 30 minutes, 31 minutes, not including the intro. But yeah, thank you for listening if you made it this long. If you found what I said enlightening, like and subscribe. You know, if not, it is what it is. We'll try again next time. This is T Hoodie in Japan. Ending the video. Peace.